peanut butter and pickle sandwich. You guys,
A what?
What?
have you ever tried it?
No. What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Run It Up. I'm your host, Master Tesfatsion. Please be joined alongside Demetrious Johnson and Rachel DeMita. The gang is back, and of course, we always got to wonder what's on y'all's mind. I'll start, Rachel. What is on your mind this week?
So maybe I'm a little hungry right now, but I'm thinking about sandwiches, and I'm thinking about an elite sandwich that a lot of people don't enjoy, but I really love it.
Okay,
and it's
talk to me.
a peanut butter and pickle sandwich. You guys,
A what?
What?
have you ever tried it?
No.
Do you like peanut butter?
Yes.
Do you like pickles?
Yeah.
I'm in a pickle group chat.
Are you really?
Yeah. So, anytime anyone orders like fried pickles or pickle juice or pickle bags or anything like that, we send
So
a group.
I wasn't invited to this?
I mean, now that I
Okay,
know you're obsessed
so
with pickles, but I got to see this is
drop
is
this sandwich
extreme.
in the comments. You guys also let us know in the comments if you've ever had a peanut butter and pickle sandwich. They're delicious. I used to have it in my lunch all the time in school. Haven't had one in a while.
Did you just skip over bananas and just went straight
No,
to
I
pickles?
mean I do that too, but not together. Yeah.
Peanut butter and banana?
Yeah, I do that too.
That's like, if you're going to do, like, that is...
Don't knock it till
Do
you
you do
try it.
pickles in like a protein shake with peanut butter?
No. Why would you? You don't blend the pickle.
I mean, you're kind of blending them up when you're putting in your mouth.
Yeah, but the crunch is like what helps the sandwich. You know what I mean? It gives you just a little. Yeah, I don't know. Try it. Don't knock it
right.
till you try
Maybe
it.
we'll do it on
Pickles
one of these
and peanut
episodes.
butter
But
sandwich.
Yeah.
Demetrious, what's on your mind?
You know what? I think what's been on my mind is I think professional athletes should be able to bet on themselves. They should be able to gamble. I don't see the problem with it. Now, I do understand, like, let's say I'm about to play against LeBron James and I'm going to, throw the game and I bet on LeBron, then that should be against the rules. But if I'm like, hey, I'm going to throw $50K on me winning this game tonight, nobody should be able to bat an eye, right? Like, what's the problem if I want to bet on myself? Ryan Garcia just did it and he just cashed out $12 million. And a lot of people are, saying, oh, you shouldn't be able to bet on sports. Oh, you're going to fix the game, blah, 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 blah. What's the problem?
And this is spurred, I'm sure, by Michael Porter Jr.'s brother. who's
Yes.
Now banned for life from the NBA.
But see, he did something wrong. He was throwing games. He was sitting out of the game, right? Like, I'm not talking like that. I'm like, hey, if I want to go bet $100,000 that I'm about to win this fight, I should be able to do that. Now, if I was to go, hey, I'm betting $100,000 that he's going to beat me, and I go out there, I'm like, oh man, you're so good. That's a problem. So that's my hot take. I think, if I want to.
It gets dicey with the props there because, like, say, I don't know, you're LeBron James and you want to make 10 field goals or whatever the case is, the over-under, not hypothetically.
Yep.
You're just jacking up shots, whether it impacts the game or not.
Yeah.
I mean, you're kind of manipulating the game as well in that kind of manner where it's...
Am I winning?
I don't know. I legitimately don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe prop bets, maybe he's like all off. I do agree with
Well-
you. There's some sort of like, there's some iffy where, like, there's some gray area in there where if I'm playing on the Dallas Mavericks and I think they're going to win the game,
Yeah,
I should be able to bet on the team.
absolutely.
But in other ways where it may manipulate or alter the game, I think that one's a little bit more difficult.
Well, I
to say.
think that's why it's hard to just make that rule because there's so many. You can do this, but you can't. Then that's you know what I mean? And how do you follow that rule? It's like, oh, you can only make this one bet at this. I don't know. It gets tricky with team sports. With boxing, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just you versus somebody else, but it gets tricky when it's you and your team and the coaches and the, I don't know.
Could you imagine
And the
like,
refs and
you play on a
Refs
Seattle
especially.
Sea?
the refs.
Tim Donnie, I'm looking at you. You were the 2006 NBA Finals with my Dallas Mavericks. I'll never forget it.
Could you imagine you bet on your team and it was like, you better make this field goal, dog. Like, I got my fucking check on it.
I got a ban on
Yeah,
you right
actually,
now.
that's true. They lose the game, and
Yeah.
then it's like, heated in the locker room because they're playing the Detroit Pistons, and he was like, oh, this is easy cash,
Yeah.
and then they
And the
lose.
two-way player put his whole check on there and
Right.
now can't pay rent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dice situation and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it'll be very fascinating if there is some wiggle room in that. But I mean, you do have a point. If Garcia can do it in that kind of manner and bet on himself,
Yep.
maybe this is taking it to another level. But that's very interesting.
It'll make players try harder.
Maybe in the
Keep
NBA.
it to one-on-one sports only.
I think that could be a good
Yeah.
We need to set some boundaries. I think that's a good boundary.
We don't need it in the NBA. We don't need any more drama in the
No, we
NBA.
don't. We don't need more band players. No. What's on my mind? This one's going to be out of left field because I am actually not that big of a hockey fan. I'm a very casual hockey fan because of Mike McDonald and the Dallas Stars. I will say this, Stanley Cup playoffs, in terms of sporting spectacles, S tier. Elite tier of performances. Even if you have no idea who these Norwegian or Swedish or Finnish people are, the amount of competition and level that they're playing at, it is like unbelievable. Wow. And I'm still picking up the game as it goes and stuff like that. Like, I only really do enjoy when the Stars are playing well, but I'm telling y'all right now, if you flip on a hockey game during the playoffs right now, you will be sucked into it for about 2 hours and it will captivate you in a way that is very, very difficult for other sports to do so.
Wow.
That is... I don't know if y'all are big hockey people.
I like
Again,
the fights on the hockey.
Oh yeah,
because they're like there's.
Of course you would.
That's why I like it. Every once in a while you see a guy do a Superman punch. I'm like, oh, he did a Superman punch. Good for him. And he landed it. Good for him.
With the helmet on. Like,
With the helmet on.
This is crazy.
Why take the helmet off?
Some of them sometimes they
keep
the
him on
helmet
there.
on.
That's right. That's true.
You're a coward if you do, but yeah. I don't know. Are you a big hockey person? Cleveland? I don't know if there's any ties in the...
No, there's a Cleveland hockey team.
No, I mean, sure, there's a minor league team, but I don't know if it's big in Ohio like that.
No, I've actually been to a couple hockey games, and I can't get over the fact that they look like little fish swimming around. Think about it. They look like fish in a fishbowl because they never stop moving. And I'm so not used to that in sports. There's normally, like a time where you stop and reset or whatever. They just never stop.
No,
and there's 2 half-times, which throws me off.
2 intermissions.
Right.
Intermissions.
But like to me, my mind goes to halftime. But yeah.
Intermissions,
Yeah. It's a fun vibe. I haven't like really gotten into the sport yet, though.
The level it takes to do that, it is.
Oh yeah,
it is absolutely insane.
I appreciate that.
I'm locked in right now. Hopefully, my Stars can make a run. If not, I'm still gonna be locked in. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. As I'll be locked in for this upcoming fight that we have for the unanimous heavyweight championship bout right here on DAZN. Very much looking forward to that. Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, versus Oleksandr Usyk, the Ukrainian. This will be the first time that we will see a unanimous heavyweight champion in 25 years. A lot to look forward to here. A lot of different clashes and styles that we see from these two fighters with the size and speed. What are you looking forward to in this contest, and who do you feel like has the upper edge in those two areas?
Let's start through the very beginning. Tyson Fury, he just got done fighting Francis Ngannou. That was his last fight. He didn't look the best. Everybody was like, did he?
Fight is a very nice way to say his performance.
Yeah, everyone was like, did you even train for the fight? What's going on? So that's my last impression I have on Tyson Fury right now. He's obviously taken on Usyk. Usyk, he's beat Anthony Joshua.
But Usyk just won't.
Very, very... moves very good as a southpaw and at heavyweight. When he beat Anthony Joshua, I was very shocked because Anthony Joshua is very big, athletic, moves very well, but Usyk just danced circles all around him in the southpaw position. So going to this fight, how is Tyson Fury going to deal with Usyk's movement? Always in a high volume as well, because when we look at Usyk, he almost mirrors the same style as Lomachenko. Bop, 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 turns the angle, uppercut, right hand, and he's very relentless with his pressure.
Both Ukrainians, right?
Yes, both Ukrainians, yes.
In terms of that style, when you talk about the speed that Usyk can possess, I've seen some reports, maybe Fury may come in a little slimmer than he usually does for this kind of fight.
He's going to need to. He's going to need to because the volume that Usyk fights at is not the same as Francis or other heavyweights, right? That Tyson Fury is used to facing. So Tyson Fury has seen Usyk fight. Usyk moves a lot as a southpaw around the angle on the I call it the moon curve. He does a lot of that. And Tyson Fury is going to have to be on his bicycle to be able to maintain the same volume he's going to be doing.
And we know about Fury's, we'll get back to the Ngannou stuff, but Fury's unorthodox style and approach that he has, sometimes southpaw, sometimes with his hands up, hands down, want to play tight. What would be the best approach to someone who has the speed and the movement that Usyk does?
Well, the biggest thing is that Tyson has the range advantage because he's taller, right? So he's got to keep on moving. For Usyk to get past that, you got to beat the body up. You beat the body up, the heads will come down, and then you ever hit him with the overhand right or overhand left as a southpaw. So it's going to come down to, can Usyk get to Tyson Fury without taking much damage and beat the body up to bring the head down? And can Tyson Fury keep Usyk at range and slow him down. I don't think he's gonna be able to slow him down and use his size to weigh on him. It's gonna be a sick fight. That's a big fight. I cannot wait to see.
It's gonna be a great fight.
Would you consider this a speed versus power fight?
You know,
Speed versus size fight?
I would say speed versus size. I think that's the better because Tyson Fury, he does knock people out, but he doesn't have like that Ryan Garcia, that blistering left hook that drops you if it hits you. He has more of a style where he's here, he throws a beautiful jab, 1-2, he works behind, and he boxes. He boxes where Usyk, he boxes, but he also fights, where he's actually trying to put you away. And then, yeah, I think it's speed versus size. Because Usyk used to be a lot smaller, but he keeps going up and beating all the bigger guys in the division and weight class.
Right.
We talked about the last fight Tyson Fury was in. Francis Ngannou, MMA guy, first time he's boxing in Saudi Arabia. Big prize fight in Saudi Arabia.
And this one's back there, correct?
Yeah, this one is back there.
Yeah.
So a lot of questions in terms of how serious Fury took this fight. And Ngannou actually knocked him on the canvas in this contest. And a lot of people thought that actually Fury lost his fight. Didn't take it as seriously. And of course, we're coming off of Garcia and Haney, where we see one guy taking it serious and we see the other guy not taking it serious. It was funny, Tyson Fury said this quote leading up to this fight in terms of his seriousness and where his mindset is at. He said, quote, "I think if I didn't train at all for this camp and came in 25 stones, which is about 350 pounds, and sank 15 pints of Peroni," which again, we've seen boxers drink some beers from time or two at weigh-ins. He said if he drank 15 pints of Peroni beforehand, then the next day he went and gone in there, what's he going to do? Jib and jab around me? Essentially, Fury's coming in with a lot of confidence here.
That's the guy.
Is that where you rolling with?
All in on Fury. Yeah. Any boxer now, when they announce that they're drinking before the fight, that's my guy. Give it to me.
Enough with the seriousness in boxing. Like, who's the most relaxed? Who's the most calm?
Right, exactly.
Do you take anything from that Garcia fight with because you always are worried about someone being overconfident, cocky, arrogance in this kind of aspect. But I mean, in boxing, sometimes is it needed? Is it necessary?
Yeah, and I think there's also, maybe a thin line between like being so locked in to where you're like Haney, where you're playing too much by the book and you're not just going with how you feel and your rhythm and how you know how to fight and just going off of instinct. Maybe when you are feeling so confident in yourself, you go in there and almost like play your game, as you would say in basketball. So I don't know, but Tyson's been around for a while now, so he knows how to train. He knows, what he needs to do. Maybe that was one fight, his last one against a guy we thought might be a little bit easier of a match than he expected. But going into this, I think the stakes are a little bit higher. So
absolutely. I mean,
so whether he's drinking or not, I think he's going to take it seriously.
Here are the names that have won the unified undisputed heavyweight championship. Which, say what you want, it's still the prize situation that you want to be in boxing. You're talking Muhammad Ali. You're talking Mike Tyson, Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Sonny Liston, Evander Holyfield. And the last one to do it was Lennox Lewis when he defeated Holyfield to win the unified undisputed heavyweight championship. We have a situation here. There's going to be like a whole generation of kids who are watching this that have never seen
none of those
a
guys.
Unified heavyweight championship title bout. Like, what is the significance of us finally getting one of these for the first time in 25 years?
Oh, it's absolutely massive. I mean, those names you just, rallied off, those guys aren't even boxing anymore, right? Besides Mike Tyson, right? He's the only one who's still boxing, right? God bless Mike Tyson. But, for the new era now of people watching boxing, this is their opportunity to witness history, right? Because it's been a long, long, long time since we've seen this opportunity for these two gentlemen, Tyson Fury and Usyk, to be able to capture and put their names along the list of those greats.
Yeah, and the significance of doing that and putting your name along those greats, as you mentioned, Usyk has come out and like vehemently said in his broken English that he can, no, I'm here to win the unified heavyweight championship. Like, this still carries a level of significance for these guys. And of course, we've seen from Fury consistently say he's the greatest heavyweight champion of all time. Having this on his legacy, like, it feels like there's two significant legacies here at stake for Fury to cement himself with these names we just mentioned, and for Usyk to make a name for himself as well to the boxing world, to show them that he's one of the best heavyweights of this generation.
Yeah, I think Usyk is more like a dark horse, right? Because when you talk about the heavyweights in this era, you had Deontay Wilder, you had Tyson Fury, you had not Francis Ngannou.
Well, he was good. Yeah, he's got
Proving himself. Yeah.
You have Anthony Joshua, where I feel like Usyk is kind of like that dark horse, doesn't say much, doesn't speak English, but when he goes out there and he fights, he brings it. Like he takes it to his opponents, and that's one of the things I love about him, and him holding the significance of him being able to have his name next to all those great athletes. It just shows you how dialed in he is for this fight.
Is globally this going to be the biggest fight of the year on a global stage? Because let's think about it's not just U.S. fans that are going to be tuning in. It's almost like they're putting their countries on their back in a sense. They carry that pride as well.
Yep. You have the Ukrainians, you have the Americans who want to see it. And it's not even that. It's just the significance of what holds whoever wins this, gets to be in line along other greats. And then the winner of this gets to fight Anthony Joshua, who just beat Francis Ngannou. And we've all wanted to see for the longest time, Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. We all wanted to see that, but he's got to get through Usyk first, and we'll see what happens.
What advice would you give these fighters going into this contest, knowing what's at stake, knowing that they can cement their legacy with the opportunity to be the unified world heavyweight champion? I keep wanting to say world heavyweight. I guess WWE, but unified heavyweight champion here.
Honestly, for Usyk, just do what you do best, right? You're a great southpaw. You move very well. You're very high volume. Keep that same high volume against Tyson Fury, because I feel when you come up to heavyweight, you have something that the heavyweights don't have, which is a gas tank, right? A lot of the guys, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, the list of all the, even Vladimir Klitschko, those guys didn't move a lot. They were very big, very 1-2, 1-2-3. Where Usyk, he's throwing like 6-8 punch combinations. So keep that same movement, keep working around the angle, and just take it to him, beat the body up, and the head will follow.
Does the delay in this fight at all change things? I know Fury had something that popped up in sparring, which caused this fight to be delayed.
When he got that cut.
The cut in his eye. Does that change things at all for any one of these fighters?
No, I don't think so, because boxing doesn't really wear down your body like MMA does, or kickboxing or Muay Thai, where you're taking so much more of somebody's body weight on you. I think for boxing, it's just all arms and jump roping and running and a little bit of sparring, but I don't think it does. I think if anything, it probably helps them, because I'm sure some of them are probably drinking a beer and get their mind off things.
What do you think Tyson needs to do to secure this win?
Take it seriously.
That's it?
No, I think take it seriously and just be ready for the high volume and the high movement. A lot of people get thrown off when they fight Usyk or how well he moves. Even like Lomachenko, when he fought Devin Haney, he moves so much. So you just look at, people have to take in consideration of Usyk's movement. If he doesn't, it's going to be not a very good night for Tyson.
Yeah.
You guys ready for some Factor Cap?
Let's do it.
All right, Factor Cap going into this massive heavyweight fight. Excuse me. Fury size will be too much. Cruiserweights can't hang with the heavyweights. That is obviously a quote from Fury talking about Usyk. Fact or cap?
It's cap.
Why?
Because Usyk just proved that he can go hang with the heavyweights when he beat Anthony Joshua. And Anthony Joshua, after the fight, he goes, "How did you do it?" He goes, and Usyk is like, "You're strong." He goes, I'm not. He goes, "I'm strong, but I don't know how to box. I don't know how to box." So it's not about strength. It's about how can you, box the athlete. How can you box your opponent? And that's what Usyk's going to do when he fights Tyson Fury. So cap.
He says cap.
I say cap as well.
Cap, why is that?
Yeah. Well, I think that you have a different advantage when you're not at that weight. So like we've been talking about his speed, maybe his endurance throughout the match as well. So I think it's cap.
Yeah, I'm going with cap too. I think you can wear him down. You can move him around with heavyweights. So you can slow him down. I think there's many ways to win a fight. But of course, you would go for the lighter guys.
I'll always go for the lighter guys.
You're always going to hold it down for the lighter guys. And hey, on run up, we're going to roach.
Yep.
Hey, LeBron has lost weight in the NBA as well. So that's how he's kept his longevity. So it works across sports.
He's also lost his hairline too. You see that thing? Jesus.
Well, it comes like back and then it leaves again and then it's there again. Yeah.
You don't do the Beijing? We going to take you to Turkey? You don't even
Nah, I'm not doing that. Nah.
Head to Turkey, head to Istanbul?
My producer wants to do it just for and giggles, and I'm going to say I want a fro hawk with a badass fade with my beard. Whew.
See?
All right, what's the next one? We're getting off topic.
He's going down memory lane here. That's his dream board or vision board. Factor Cap also on the vision board. One hell of a vision board. The trailer leading up to this fight. Unbelievable. Factor Cap.
Yeah,
was it the best trailer we've ever seen?
It's fact. I think they get the fans excited because I come from an era where the beginning of MMA, you see these amazing trailers. Amazing. Then they just disappear. And now we have one for Tyson Fury and Usyk. Yeah, so I'll give it a fact.
Yeah, the special effects were insane.
Yeah,
that
it was
was
nuts.
so cool.
It was like a movie.
I
Like-
love the rhino just like running through at one point. I'm like, oh, didn't expect that. I'm so into it. Yeah.
Facts. Whoever did
That was
that,
cool.
you crushed it. Definitely leading up and heading into a great bout there. That was a great job promotion-wise. Fact or Cap, this fight will end in a knockout.
Cap.
Oh.
What'd you say?
Cap.
Why is that?
Because I think it's going to go rounds, and I think even if Usyk is landing all of these, punches that you anticipate him landing, I think, Tyson's just that guy. He's just built. I don't think he's going to get dropped by that. So I think it'll go rounds.
Does Usyk get dropped?
No, I don't think so.
She got decision over here. We'll get predictions here in a minute.
Because he'll be bobbing and weaving. Is that what it's called? He's not gonna get one that lands, and I think that's what the fans want as well. Or if it's a knockout, it has to come late. I mean, we want to see these guys fight for a while.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She's going Cap.
I'm going Cap too.
Wow.
She's right. Both those athletes have never been a one-hitter quitter, right? Where they hit them and they just fall down. They've been more of it builds over time in a combination. And if it's going to happen, it'll be in the 8th or 10th or 11th round or 12th round. Or, a knockout, not a TKO stoppage. The ref, I don't want the ref to stop it. When she said Cap, we are both on the mindset that one person is going to get hit, fall to the ground, and not get up and respond to the 10 count. So I'll go with Cap.
I'm gonna go fact. I think someone's getting knocked out. I'm not sure yet. You'll see in the predictions here in a bit. But you want a heavyweight bout for the unified heavyweight title? Go all in. Like we just go all in. Meet him at the center of the circle, squared circle there, and just go all out. Like I hope we can see that at some point in this contest. I think it'd be a great way to tie this in. And again, for a fight that we haven't seen in 25 years for unified heavyweight titles, go all in. Give us the entire spectacle. Give us what we anticipate and what we expect from a massive heavyweight bout. And with that, it is time now for predictions. I will start with you, Rachel.
You guys already know who I'm taking. I'm taking Fury. I'm taking him. No one is gonna fool me again with their promo, with their talking about drinking before the fight. He's got it locked in. I think he's just throwing us for a loop.
Will you have a beer in hand while you're watching this fight?
Possibly, or maybe like a cocktail.
Cocktail.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Beer
Cute little like salt rim. Yeah. I'm in.
She's got Fury.
Man,
What you got?
I want Tyson Fury to win because I just want to see that opportunity to see Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury finally lock horns because I've been wanting to see that fight for a very long time. But I think Usyk's going to win. That's what my gut's telling me because he's very high volume. He works really good as a southpaw, and I think he's just going to beat the body up of Tyson Fury. Hands are going to come down, and I think he's going to end up finishing him.
Do you think he beats up the body? We get a potential knockout in that situation.
I think it will be a referee stoppage. I don't foresee Tyson Fury getting because Deontay Wilder dropped Tyson Fury home.
I remember that.
He woke up like the Undertaker.
Yeah. Well, that's I think why I was thinking like this guy can't be knocked out the way that we think of a knockout. It's like one hit and he's asleep.
Yeah, he's gonna wake back up, right?
Yeah.
So if it does get stopped, it will be referees like, hey, you've had way too much damage. I don't want you to continue. And so my final prediction, I'm gonna go with Usyk.
I'm gonna go Fury. He's got a point to prove here, and as you mentioned, I do want to see Joshua Fury. So that's kind of the direction I'm rooting for here. And again, coming off the Ngannou fight, I think he has something to prove here. Because if you lose this fight, coming off of that fight, that's not a great look for him. Then you start questioning if he's on the decline now, if we've seen the best from Tyson Fury at that point. I think he's got a lot to prove here. Despite his comments of drinking beer and trying to take it real casual.
I love
and
it.
showing up 25
it.
stones in this fight. I don't think he will. I think he comes in nice and slim. He's got a couple extra months here to get himself in the proper shape, in the proper form for this fight. I think it will serve as a slight advantage to him as well to move around and deal with Usyk's agility and speed. I'm going Fury here. I'm going knockout. Give it to us all. Give us unified heavyweight title and give us a fight for the ages that will cement Fury with some of the greatest that we've seen in this class. Shifting gears here, we will go on to a spectacle in which I believe is the greatest tournament in the world. I know I was bragging about the NHL hockey playoffs, but something that supersedes anything that goes on in the world is the Champions League. And if you watch the quarterfinals, you know how unbelievable that was. Epic, instant classics all across the board from everyone. And now we're in the semifinals where we see Real Madrid, the kings of Europe, facing off against Bayern Munich, of course, another European titan in the Champions League. And on the other side, you have Borussia Dortmund with a stunner in the second leg against Atletico Madrid, advancing to take on Paris Saint-Germain. And of course, we know this is the last dance, the swan song for Kylian Mbappe, who's been there since 2017, who was on loan from Monaco before he was outright bought in 2018. He's the highest paid player in the world, making 200 million euros per year. And this will likely be his last season with PSG, his hometown club, because he's always dreamed about playing for Real Madrid, and all signs are pointing this summer that he will go to Real Madrid. But the time that he spent at PSG has been up for debate whether this has actually been a success or not. The Qataris, of course, they own PSG. They've spent a lot of money on the infrastructure players. We've seen Neymar come there. We've seen Messi come there. We've seen a ton of things that PSG has tried to do to try and get PSG their first Champions League title. And we've seen Kylian Mbappe push off his dream of playing for Real Madrid to try and stay at PSG with some pressure coming from the French president and also from Qatari officials to try and stay at PSG and try to make this thing work. However, they still have not been able to do what they set out to do, which is winning a Champions League title. This appears to be their last shot. And as we always talk about in sports, the trophies, the rings, the legacies, and all that stuff, Kylian Mbappe is entering now the prime of his career at 25 years old. This is the time where you have to win the Ballon d'Ors as the best player in the world. You have to win the Champions League. You have to cement yourself as the best player in the world. And he doesn't have either one of those yet.
Yeah.
And it's because he's at PSG. And I'm very curious from y'all's perspective, because whether this is viewed as a success or failure based off of whether he wins a Champions League, whether PSG wins the Champions League, I think that is a very valid and fair way to assess his career at PSG, despite the fact that PSG has been elevated to a worldwide brand now and recognized in a way that it probably wasn't at the time before the Qataris took it over, and of course, before Kylian Mbappe arrived as well. But there's a lot of weight, a lot of pressure on his shoulders. He turns to LeBron James quite a bit to try and understand how to navigate some of these pressures. For someone that young, who has a lot of weight, who wants to get all these titles and stuff, would it be a failure for a certain regime, like, say, for instance, LeBron James' first stint in Cleveland,
right? Well,
to not win a title? Did you view that in its initial state as a failure?
I think there is something to be said about a player being loyal to whatever team, club they're playing for, because we don't see that so much anymore in sports, because there's so much money being thrown around and there's different stages that you can be on. Like you said, playing at Real Madrid, or if you talk about, LeBron going to Miami, winning his first chip there. Me being someone who was from Akron, Ohio, that stung. It really, really stung, because you feel like this is somebody who could have done it here first. And he kind of, gave up in a sense, or didn't feel like he had the pieces around him. So he got out of there. Luckily, he came back and won it for us and for Cleveland and for Ohio. But I think with Mbappe, it's hard. You look at Caitlin Clark as a similar example, right? She's playing at Iowa, which is a team that is, didn't maybe surround her with the same as, say, a UConn. But she got to that championship game. They lost to South Carolina, but they did lose to a better team. It was Caitlin Clark's team that she elevated to that point. So, obviously, I think it might put him in that GOAT conversation. Say he does win and he does get, what is the award again?
The Ballon d'Or.
Ballon d'Or,
yes,
for essentially MVP of this league. That would be an incredible feat. I think just hats off to him for staying as long as he has, and really riding it out.
Yeah, it has not been easy. But again,
right,
he wanted to leave, but they paid him a ton of money. He's making 200 million euros a year, as I mentioned, more than any other player in the world right now. And you got the French president coming and telling you to stay in Paris. It's a lot of pressure for a young kid like that to handle. I'm curious from your perspective, because
but the greats handle it.
They do.
So
they absolutely do.
This can, elevate him.
And he definitely did show up in the quarterfinals to get him to this point. And
right.
PSG has performed better in Champions League without Neymar, without Messi, as hard as it is believed, than they have with those two players. But you look at the situation, because he has been offered $1 billion by Saudi Arabia. He declined that. He's very much clearly in mind right now. He has to get these trophies. He has to build this legacy up. I'm curious from an MMA, mixed martial arts, boxing perspective, we just saw Ryan Garcia, who won the fight, won a lot of money, didn't win the title, but a lot of people are just saying, who cares? Like, he got his point across. Is there an issue that exists in boxing and MMA as well, where you're kind of put in these two positions where do you go after as many prize fights as you possibly can, or do titles still matter in MMA, in mixed martial arts, in boxing, to try and prove that you're one of the greatest?
Yeah, I think it comes down to the athlete, right? When you hear what this gentleman's trying to do in soccer is that he's got all the money. He's getting 200 million euros every single year, but money can't buy titles, right? You just cannot buy that. Even in mixed martial arts, even in, boxing, you got guys like Floyd Mayweather who's won every single title you can, but he still continues to do these, boxing matches just for fun and for money, because legacy don't pay bills. No. That's one thing that legacy doesn't do. So I think for him, he's got all the money. He's really trying to, establish his legacy as he's won that trophy. And it's the same thing in mixed martial arts and all over. Even for Ryan Garcia, he's won $50 million. He didn't get the belt, but he's already been a champion before. He's just going out there to get a $50 million paycheck, because that's what's going to pay his bills 20 to 30 years down the line, not him being a world champion.
And here's where things can get interesting. We're in the semifinals right now, obviously. If PSG advances into the final, they're on one side of the bracket. Real Madrid is on the other side of the bracket. Real Madrid has more Champions League than any other team in European history, with their chance to go for their 15th Champions League title, with Kylian Mbappe potentially being the guy that could stop them in London at Wembley Stadium. That I'm praying that happens. I legitimately, it would be the best way for Mbappe to go out and the best way for us to enjoy a spectacle of an event of seeing a Champions League final, PSG versus Real Madrid at Wembley.
But if he won and then he goes to Real Madrid, do you not try to run it back if you win? You know what I mean? How can you just win and then jump ship to the team you beat?
I mean, Kawhi Leonard did it.
We can go down the list of NBA players who have done it, but I'm just saying.
Would it be mission accomplished, though? He wins, say he beats Real Madrid, mission accomplished.
It would.
It kind of would be very much, I mean, I guess it'd be the opposite of Kevin Durant if Real Madrid won and he joins them. Would it be mission accomplished? He gets PSG their first Champions League title. He cements a legacy there.
I get that.
Then he can go on and live his childhood dream.
I get that.
But
I get that.
I mean, PSG, they have some really good young players too. There could be something there they could build, but we'll see.
I guess we'll have to see.
We will have to see. Let's just fingers crossed we get PSG, Real Madrid in the Champions League finals. Other things that are going on in the sports world, the NFL, of course. We're in the offseason now, and this is the time in which rules are changed. The biggest one, of course, coming out of the owners' meeting is the kickoff has been changed, influenced quite a bit by the XFL, where both sides will be lining up 10 aside, right next to each other. There's landing zones now between the 1 and the 20-yard line. If the ball's kicked within that space, you must return it. And then there's other rules within that exist for onside kicks as well and all these different things. But the goal of this is because kickoffs have been dead, unfortunately. And we haven't been able to enjoy what is honestly a very underrated aspect of football, of being able to appreciate great returns, the excitement that comes from that, the thrill that comes from those 7 seconds, where you can see a Devin Hester being able to return the kickoff on the opening play of the Super Bowl. Those things have been non-existent as of late, so they're trying to bring that excitement back, trying to bring the love back, but also trying to keep player safety in mind. Some good changes here. The only one I kind of dispute is the onside kick rule, where you can only do it in the fourth quarter now, and you have to acknowledge or say and state the fact that you're doing onside kicks and no surprise squib kicks and stuff.
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's so stupid. That part of the
rule.
rule.
You have to announce it?
Yeah.
Doesn't that take away the...
It absolutely does.
I mean, you kind of know someone's going to onside kick the way everybody lines up. And then, you could do an onside kick and everybody do it like normal formation. But typically, we do an onside kick. It's like, all right, everybody get on this side. Here we go.
But to use another Super Bowl, for example, the Saints coming out the second half against the Colts and Sean Payton taking the gamble and doing a surprise onside kick right there that changed the momentum of that Super Bowl. Those are the elements that we're losing from that. Yeah. It already has been really hard, to be quite honest with you, of doing onside kicks. So there's some dispute of whether that needs some more changes or not. But in terms of rule changes of any sport that you guys are dealing with, Rachel, I'll start with you again. Is there a rule that is just irking you, that you just feel like needs to be changed in any sport that you love to follow?
Well, I'll say first off, I think a lot of the rules across sports are being changed for player safety first. We're seeing that like in NBA and NFL. And I think a lot of the purist fans don't like it because the physicality is something that they like to see, especially when you think back to like 90s basketball. The NBA, I'm going to go back to the NBA All-Star game because it
You
sucks.
really hate it.
It's not good. It's not a good game. They scored over 200 points in this last game. Bring back captain's choice, where you have two players, one for the East, one for the West, and they get to pick like you're at the playground. You know, I feel like they changed it because Joker was picked last one year, and then right after that, Adam Silver was like, we're going back to East versus West. We can't do this. We can't do this again. But it added some drama. So whether the game is good or not, at least you have that leading up to it, and you get to see, you know, guys playing together who you know, normally wouldn't, or they're, you know, friends, and you see how these cliques kind of form. To me, that was interesting. And I think All-Star needs something.
Did you like when they changed the fourth quarter to make it, what was it, 24 points or whatever the case was, whoever scored 24 in the fourth? Because there was a really fun one, I think it was in Chicago, actually, right before COVID, that in 2020, which with those rule changes, it made it for exciting, even though it ended with LeBron at the free throw line.
Like the quarters and whoever scored this amount first. Whatever it is, something needs to go. I understand both sides. I understand some of these guys just want to break during this time. But at the end of the day, I remember growing up as a kid and All-Star being something that was almost like our Super Bowl moment, even more than NBA Finals. And it was so excited, and every event was just exciting. And we saw the competition. We saw like Kobe going up against Michael Jordan. One-on-one, like they would clear and those guys would go at it. And we just don't see that much anymore. It's guys just kind of, you know, letting them blow by, and there's just dunks and three-pointers and laughing and giggling, and I just want like a little bit of competition back, you know?
She's like, boring. Everybody's having a good time.
Yeah.
I looked at Luka Doncic's IG immediately after the All-Star game ended. He was on the first jet out to Slovenia. And next thing you know, the next morning I wake up here and he's on a beach already. And I'm like, all right, I mean, sure. Cool.
Well, they only have like 4 days and they have to report back on a Wednesday. And so it's like they have Monday, Tuesday, half day Wednesday to
maybe
vacation.
extend that break? I don't know. Like, maybe
something needs to change, yeah.
Demetrious, I'm interested from your perspective. What rules are you just saying needs to go?
And, you know, when it comes to the combat world, in mixed martial arts, you can't knee a grounded opponent. What I mean by that is that if I have my 3 points of contact touching the ground, so my feet and one finger, I am a down opponent. You cannot knee my head, right? Where if I just go like this, you can't knee me in the head. So I can literally stop you from attacking me if I just do that. You can't knee me in the head. You look at the boxing side.
Wait, why is the significance of that?
Well, they just say that he's a grounded opponent. You can't do it. There's been leagues in the past like Pride, Dream, where you can kick people on the ground when they're on all four. Saw one boy got kicked, Roger Wirtz, got kicked right in the neck, looked like somebody shot a dog. It was horrible. So they do it for the aspect of helping.
Sorry.
Just the imagery.
Yeah, like
I'll show it to you.
I can't help but see that, what you just said.
It was pretty bad when I saw it. I was like, damn. Literally shot all yellow. But I think they should take that rule away because I feel it stops the progression of an athlete fighting. Just like in boxing, when you look at the previous fight where Garcia versus Haney, Garcia kept turning his back to Haney, kept turning his back. And Haney was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna hit your flank, which it becomes an illegal shot. And so he's stopping the progression of Haney getting to Garcia by just turning his back. They got to change that rule where they got to penalize Garcia or penalize the athlete who's turning the back. And it also, if they keep on doing it, they're exposing that back shot where that's a very deadly shot. You can, become paralyzed. We've seen it in boxing before. So those are the ones that I would want to take out, where it's like they have to make that rule and change it where it's like you can't turn your back in a fight.
That's like a flop rule, kind of.
Or when they're all like the basketball players. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like flopping and boxing.
And soccer too. You see sometimes in soccer where
they invented the flop. Let's be real here.
Hey.
Oh my God.
Eurosport did this. Eurosport did this.
They're tactical decisions. That's what they are. Trying to make an advantage. But they actually tried to introduce like a blue card. They were trying to do it because they have yellow and red cards for like fouls and stuff.
Yeah.
So blue cards would be like tactical fouls that people would take, where you have to sit 10 minutes out of the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Basically,
for flopping?
Simulation gets you a yellow card, but like, say you're on the breakaway and I tug you down so you don't get like to go. I don't know if you're in advantage, like 2-on-1 or something. If I took away that advantage from you, they'd send a blue card, I'd be sitting out sideline for 10 minutes. So the other team would get advantage where they play 11 on 10.
Doesn't hockey do that?
Hockey does that. Rugby, I think
Yeah.
more so the influence came from rugby because rugby's really known for that. Where if you get a yellow card, you have to sit out and there's a review that goes on that depends if it's a red card and you get ejected or not.
Right.
So it's like a 10-minute waiting period for that. But yeah, that was something they were thinking about throwing in there. But football fans, like they hated it. They did not go for it at all. I'm gonna shift gears to baseball because this is very much long overdue. We need automatic strikes and balls because home plate umpires at this point have become so inaccurate, so ridiculous. There's literally Twitter accounts that will show you how far off an umpire was from the strike zone. And there's no reason why I should be watching a game at home and having an objective balls and strikes capability of seeing what is a ball and what is a strike. Or I can go to a game and pull out my phone and see what is a ball and what is a strike. But for some reason, the person who has the most influential voice and whether something is a ball and a strike does not have these capabilities and also is still going off his own eyeball to try and figure out if this is a ball or strike. Like this should be the most objective thing that we should see in sports right now. I know, unfortunately, it might replace some jobs in this situation with the home plate umpires and responsibilities they have, but it is, in many cases, interfering in games, changing decisions in terms of who wins and loses in baseball. And I know there's a lot of games, so you feel like it's not influential, but in some of these races, it absolutely is. And as you get to these wildcard races coming into September and October, these games do matter. These games do count. And it cannot be decided because a home plate umpire, for some reason, a ball straight down the middle and chooses to call it a ball. Like that is the biggest thing that is irritating me, it is aggravating me in sports right now. It needs to be fixed without question. There's no reason why the casual fan should have more access and influence and information into what is a strike and a ball than the umpire behind the plate. It's a conversation for another day. But a conversation for now. We will talk about the GOATs of the 2000s.
Woo.
The greatest athletes that we've seen over the last 20 years. This should be quite the debate. The names in which we have listed that we will discuss and rank. We start off in tennis, Novak Djokovic, Serena Williams. We move on to basketball with LeBron James, to the NFL with Tom Brady, to the pitch with Lionel Messi, and last but not least, in the boxing ring, Floyd Mayweather. A lot of greats here, a lot of people who have entertained us for the last 2 decades, some people still going on, very incredible feats, going well beyond their late 30s, and some people even entering into their 40s and being able to perform at a high level. This one's tough. This one is very tough. Where are you guys thinking? Where are you guys leaning right now?
Well, because also, how do you define GOAT? Is it greatest athlete or is it global influence? Because you look at these guys, and I mean, Messi stands out to me just from pure global influence. Like, we don't even understand here in the States how big this man is. Did you see when they won World Cup and the streets were flooded?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what people were doing. Everybody was out of their homes in the streets for a week. You know, we haven't seen anything like that in the States for any athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Not Michael Jordan, not Kobe, nobody. But do we talk about rings? Do we talk about championships? Brady has 7. LeBron's not there yet. He's not there yet for me.
He has longevity.
He has
He has longevity for sure. And I'm not saying he can't get there
Absolutely.
either. He still has time.
Well, because I feel like with LeBron, and I think this is where people started realizing, like, okay, he's in that realm, like discussing him in the same realm as MJ is not as crazy as people made it sound a couple years ago when he became the scoring champion. I feel like, as you talk about with the level of longevity, he wasn't a guy that went out to go set the scoring record. Like he took pride in him being a facilitator first, but just because of his longevity, him continuing to improve on his game, whether it was after the Mavs loss in 2011, working on his low post, working on his game there, going to the Lakers, working on his 3-pointer, getting slimmer, as you mentioned, his ability to continue to move as the game has evolved, to continue to make himself as explosive a player, like that was a feat I don't think any of us saw would ever come down, and somehow he's been able to surpass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
But that's how we can also compare. Is it individual athletes because he takes it there, or do we talk about how Mike won 3 in a row, took some time off, and then 3 again? Crazy.
Insane.
You know what I mean? So
Pick
no
up
one's
baseball for a hobby real quick,
Right.
you know, like,
It's like,
you know, some
I'm just going
slight.
to take some time off.
Let me go.
I'll
dude.
be back. And then 3 more chips, you know, or Floyd Mayweather, who's never lost.
Undefeated. Where does Floyd rank in this space for you?
You obviously got to keep Floyd up there. He's undefeated, won all the major titles. You know, he's beat Canelo Alvarez. He's beat the who's who. You know, when you're talking about Messi, I feel as Americans, we don't appreciate our athletes like other countries do. Like we just had an athlete in mixed martial arts, Ilia Topuria. He just knocked out a homeboy, became the first champion over in Georgia. Whole city, man. Everybody was out there.
Shout out Georgia, man. I love people from Georgia. They're a good time. They're a great time.
Absolutely amazing. Same thing in Russia. Once Habib became champion, the whole streets are flooded. And I just think that just says how that culture of that side of the world, they're just truly sports fans. Even in China, when a Chinese become the first mixed martial champion, they're like, oh my God, they get behind to where I feel like us Americans, we got so much other going on in our lives that we just don't care as much as they do. So, you know, when you look as a presence for somebody over like Messi, you know, I've seen a lot more athletes have the same type of recognition over in that side of the country. And, you know, LeBron James, you know, he's still playing very active in basketball. You know, he's playing with people's kids now. Yeah, like when that person goes, man, you play with my dad.
Scottie Pippen.
You play with my dad. He goes, oh man, you gonna do that to me?
He might play with his own son soon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So so that there has to be something said about his longevity. Serena Williams, absolute legend in tennis. So I mean,
yeah, she's in a league of her own. There, for sure.
Absolutely, longevity for her as well. I mean,
where's Simone Biles on here?
Simone has to be up there
because she might go back to her. What is this, third Olympics?
Yeah.
Which is also unheard of in the gymnastics space because a lot of those girls are done when they're like 20.
Which is insane to process.
Absolutely.
Right.
Like you peak at like 18.
Yeah.
And then
you're done.
Yeah.
Right.
Like your muscles, they don't.
You're cooked.
You're cooked. Like I remember they were saying like as the gymnastics when they're younger, they're more explosive because their elasticity in their not joints, tendons are still elastic. As we all get older, it gets tighter and tighter. So you're not as flexible. So for her to do that, it's amazing.
And she's still doing skills that are literally named after hers. They're the Biles, you know, that nobody else can even do. And the scoring system has actually been changed a little bit because they can't even keep up with the level of difficulty that she is putting on these certain skills that no other girls have been able to do. So I think she might need to be in this conversation, especially if she performs at this Summer Olympics.
Actually, I want to go back and take it back to Serena Williams because incredibly transcendent. Obviously the greatest women's tennis player that we've ever seen. Her longevity, her dominance, her coming back from pregnancies, her winning titles with the baby in her stomach. It's just like things that you try to process that you can't comprehend, especially as a man, to try and understand what it takes physically, mentally, emotionally to try and do something of that caliber. But also, I mean, as a black person, like I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't really watching tennis like that. The Agassiz and the Andy Roddicks, I guess at the time when I was growing up, but the Williams sisters were really the introduction to tennis. And so, but you see the influence of that. You see the legacy of that when you see the Coco Gauffs, when you see the Naomi Osakas, when you see all these black girls now playing tennis at very young ages, and some of them having successes as amateurs against professionals in some of these competitions. It's very clearly pointed towards the influence not only Serena had, but also Venus. I do not want to leave Venus out of this conversation because without no Venus, there is no Serena Williams. Yeah. But in terms of just dominance and influence that she had, Serena to me on this list, I think stands out. And to this day, like, no disrespect to Djokovic, because I do respect him. The rivalry he had with Federer and Nadal, of course. Like, it was a beautiful time for men's tennis. My whole thing was, I got so used to watching Serena and Venus play tennis. Men's tennis is too damn long. Like that was like my only issue with it. And like there's other guys like Alcaraz, I think his name, right? Alcaraz, who I've enjoyed. He's had some great men's titles wins that he's had lately that have slowly got me to open up more to tennis. But I just was able to enjoy the women's game so much more, and I still do. And a lot of that, of course, is because of the Williams sisters. So for me, in terms of impact, in terms of a sport that I watch as a result of their presence, I think to me, that kind of resembles GOAT level tenacity or tendencies. And I'd probably put Serena up there.
Top three on this list. Go.
Mayweather, Brady, LeBron.
Okay.
Serena, Brady, LeBron.
Okay, this is just the last 20 years. I'm going to make that very clear.
Why are you saying that?
I'm going to go, because it's hard to put LeBron in a GOAT conversation without Michael ever.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure they'll kill us in the comments.
Yeah, but
just remember, it's in the 2000s.
Yes, the last
we're not counting Wizards MJ here in this situation with Mariah Carey singing and her beautiful Wizards outfit. That's not what we're here for.
So I'm going to say Braun. I'm going to put Messi in there because I think global impact is something that you just can't, you can't not talk about it. And I'm going to put Mayweather in there. I mean, to go undefeated in anything, 50, that's crazy to me. That's so hard to do, especially in a 1v1 sport like that, where any little slip up can be, your loss. So
No Brady? Did you have Brady?
Yes, I did.
You did?
I said Mayweather, Brady, LeBron.
Okay.
I mean, yes, for football, yes, this is a tough list. Like,
Yeah.
I want Serena and Mayweather to me are both there. So I don't know. It's hard to put Brady up there with these guys.
I just saw Brady walk into the Real Madrid locker room and all those players lost their minds. And
Yeah.
we're talking about the greatest players in the world. The influence that Brady has. I know sometimes we look at it just like domestically.
7 rings is crazy. Okay, so maybe Brady, Messi, Mayweather. Because 7 rings is also us. You know what? Next episode, I can't decide.
We had a spirited debate about this. Love to hear what you guys have to think in the comments. This is stuff, as we've seen here.
Let us know, guys.
Really has the cards on the ground. I might as well throw mine too. We're all done here. Appreciate you guys for watching. Tune in for the next episode of Run It Up. We're out.
Bye.